Peru pick up their first win of the qualifying cycle. Brazil's local boys get them a 2-1 win away in Santiago. And Bolivia beat Colombia for the first time in 20 years. This is our CONMEBOL Match Day 9 recap, guys. In the comments, follow along as we go through match by match, our analysis of each game, our biggest takeaways. Drop a like on the video if you could, and hit subscribe for more CONMEBOL content here on Deadball TV. I would like to start with Ecuador nil, Paraguay nil. That's right. We're starting off with the worst game that happened match week 9. Let's get this out of
Outstanding.
the way.
The
Let's get this
one
out of the
game
way
that I
early.
watched no real footage of. Outstanding.
Well, let me tell you, you do not need to watch any real footage of this match. My main notes for this is that Ecuador continue to be offensively awful and defensively superb. They have the second best defensive record in CONMEBOL still, 0.4 goals allowed per game. So less than half a goal allowed per game, 9 games into qualifying. They're second in clean sheets, only behind Argentina. But then you get to the offensive side of the ball, 7th in big chances, 7th in goals per game. And what I think is the most disturbing stat about Ecuador, which the plastics, they don't know to look at this. Accurate long balls per game. Ecuador is first. Now, typically, what that means, ladies and gentlemen, when a team is relying mainly on long balls, is they either are on the defensive a lot, and so their one method of attack is long ball over top to start the counter, or they just don't have a midfield. So they need to bypass the midfield and go straight to the wingers and the forwards up top. And Ecuador are first in that category by some distance, which I think is the biggest problem with this team. Their midfield is not creative at all. They are not threatening at all. And I think as long as Ecuador continue to use this kind of back five formation, every time they are the favorite, as they are the favorite at home against Paraguay, this is not a good result for Ecuador. They will struggle to win games because they do not have the personnel to break down any team that is basically saying, all right, Ecuador, have the ball. And so I think we're going to see this movie play out. Dude, unfortunately, probably a few more times throughout the rest of the qualifying cycle. So that's kind of how I see Ecuador from this match. I know you didn't get to watch it, but
I watched a little bit of highlights. The one must watch is Enciso getting his leg around. I don't even know who it was in the Ecuadorian back line, but that shot attempt was crazy. That was insane. I saw that and I was like, oh,
you mean Paraguay's one shot the entire game?
Paraguay's one shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go check it out. It'll take you 30 seconds of your life.
It'll take you 30 seconds. And kudos to Paraguay because that was about as good as it got offensively for them. For Paraguay, they still have not conceded a goal under Gustavo Alfaro. And this is a very good point for them. Like usually Paraguay goes to Quito and they lose. So let's be honest about that. The concern for Paraguay for me is that because of how Venezuela and Bolivia performed and how they've looked lately, Paraguay absolutely needs to start winning games. They cannot keep drawing 0-0. They have to win. In their next match, this coming home game against Venezuela is the most blockbuster game in Paraguay's campaign so far. They cannot draw. They must win next Tuesday or their qualification is taking a big, big hit. And I still think they will. But just by the nature of how good CONMEBOL is overall, you can't just be taking draws for fun. So I think Paraguay's biggest strength might eventually bite them in the booty, come match day 16 or 17 when they're staring at the table and they're like, wait, we've only lost twice, but we're in 8th. What's going on? They got to win. They got to start winning.
And we'll get into this a little bit more later when we start talking about Brazil, or at least I'd like to. But that match means a lot more for it means a lot for Paraguay, but it means a lot for more than just them. Like that whole bottom half of the table is just insanely cramped with talent. And so if somebody starts winning, they're going to run away with it. But a margin of less than, what is that, from Brazil, from 4 through 8, Literally almost half the entire table is separated by a margin of 3 points.
Yeah.
Or I guess 4 points technically. 10 to
Hmm.
13.
Yeah. So, do you think that because I had 0-0 in this game, I just did not have any faith in Ecuador, and I continue to have no faith in them scoring the ball, and that comes, from a place of love. It really does pain me to watch this national team. I saw that the Ecuadorian fans. This is how you know things have gotten bad, dude. And this is a little side tangent, but I feel like Ecuadorians they're a little reactionary. They're a little reactionary. I'm already seeing Becasese out after 2 games, 3 games.
Mm.
Excuse me. 1 win, a draw, and a loss. I'm already seeing Becasese out. So that's interesting. They now call Kendry Páez, who 8 months ago was the gem of Ecuador. They now call him a KFC TikToker. And I'm not sure if that's because Independiente is sponsored by KFC. I don't know where the KFC part comes from. I think it's that. But they've turned on their star boy. They're now asking for him to be benched.
No.
They hate Becasese already. It's an interesting environment right now with Ecuador. There's low fan attendance at the game. I don't know what is going on in the back room, but it's not good. Like they have a pretty bad vibe right now. And if Ecuador wasn't such a kind of a smaller population, kind of similar to Uruguay, who we'll get to, I feel like this would be getting more news. But the Ecuadorians are not happy right now. I want to ask how concerned you are on a scale of 1 to 10 for Ecuador.
Frankly, that last part was the most concerning part that I've heard about them. They can't lose the fans. They can't lose the fans. And I guess I kind of understand, right? We've been talking and talking and talking about this. Somebody's got to figure out the offense. Somebody, anybody, you start scoring goals, all of a sudden we're a superpower, right? If you lose the fans, you're not getting fan attendance. That sort of safety you have from playing home games and that backing that you have can turn toxic quickly. And you do not want that, right? I understand why. Like, I get it. You've been clamoring for an offensive option forever, or at least for the last 2.5 years, right? And then what the federation has, shot themselves in the foot in regards to money. They weren't able to get Gareca. Like, they just haven't listened to the fans. So I can understand them being disgruntled. But now, in clinch time for the 2026 World Cup, now is not the time. Now is not the time. You wait until the next cycle to sell on them. You better tenés que bancar. You got to support Kendry Páez like he's putting up Ronaldo numbers. All right, you got to
Which he's
support
not.
him like which he's not. You got to support him like the Paraguayans support Enciso. You got to make him feel good. You can't be selling on your players. This can turn into a Mexico situation. You don't want that. You don't want that. So
Ha-
I mean, you just find it in your hearts. Dig deep for this, because outside of that, like, they need support from somewhere. God knows they're not getting it from the Federation. Big Acese is just in. Ain't no way that the Brazilians, right? We're not hearing as much about Dorival. I don't know. I feel like Dorival has heard from what you're saying. The Dorival had the same record, right? 3-3-3. Call it even. Call it even. Check it up. 1-1. I don't know. I just feel like you cannot be selling on that. That really scares me, and that's really sad to hear. Because Ecuador does a lot good. They do a lot of good. Focus on that.
yeah,
Focus
they
on
just
that.
can't score.
They
They
just
can't
can't
score.
score.
I mean,
Nope.
this is a crazy stat. This time, last cycle, after 9 games, Ecuador had 15 goals at 2022. This cycle, they have 6. It's a big drop. It's a big drop. Felix Torres, the center back, is still their top goal scorer in qualifying, just for anybody wondering. So,
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'm eating my words a little bit.
I mean, they're in a bad place. They're in a bad place. Another team that's in
Yeah.
a bad place. Let's move on to Uruguay 0, Peru 1 in Lima. This is the game that happened yesterday night. I said that Peru felt like they were due for something here, but I didn't think that was going to manifest as 3 points at home against Uruguay. And it is Peru's first win of the qualifying cycle after 9 games. They now have 6 points. They're ninth place. They're above Chile on goal differential. Do you think this result changes anything for Peru's World Cup aspirations?
At the end of the day, no. I still don't think they qualify, but I think they could finish ahead of Chile.
Yeah, I think you asked me this on the CONMEBOL questions, which you can find on the channel, and I said, yeah, Peru are going to finish above Chile. They're just better under Fossati. This is a
Yeah,
big win. This is a
they are
big
better.
win for them.
They are better, and Uruguay is worse.
Yeah, Uruguay is worse. I just my main bullet point here was the game sucked. It was a terrible game. Are we pushing the panic button on Uruguay now?
I'm going to read you my first note for Uruguay here, and you tell me what you think. What button you think I'm pressing?
Okay.
Bielsa may have lost the locker room. Disorganized Uruguay, who seemed casual. If your
Mild
back
panic.
line doesn't know how to stand in a straight line and they immediately collapse upon a defender who runs into the box, I mean, they look like white blood cells attacking bacteria. If Peru had a competent midfielder who was able to run into open space to try and attack any loose balls, this could have ended 2-0. I mean, it was just unreal. They looked casual. And granted, this may have been
Yeah.
Bielsa saying, "Look, Peru is not all that. You guys we're still Uruguay. Go out there, just play your game, relax." Wrong note. Wrong note. So either Bielsa or the players were dead wrong. Either way, that's 50%. That's 50% of your equation that you are missing. Not good. Not good at all.
No, no, it's not good. I think with Uruguay, the way this team has fallen off a cliff since the Copa, it's just insane to me. I still don't really understand it. I think we just have different theories for what could possibly be going wrong. But this team is ass cheeks right now. They are so bad, and for the players they have, it's inexcusable. I think we both had an Uruguay
Inexcusable.
1-0 here because we thought, okay, Darwin Nunez is going to be here. He's going to give them that spark. I think we both chalked up the Nunez absence to why they were so poor in the last window. Well, they had Nunez, and he had maybe one or two good moments in the game, but he didn't get any service. They didn't pass him the ball. I saw a tweet. I talked about the Ecuadorians kind of turning on country pies. I saw a tweet from Uruguayan who said, basically, I'm translating, but he said, basically, maybe we should wear white from now on so that Fede actually turns up for us like he does for Madrid. And Fede
That's cold.
was is cold. Also valid, dude. Start playing better.
Yeah.
Dude, he's been
Yeah,
asked for like
he had
7
one shot
games
outside the
now.
box. He had one shot outside the box. Yeah, this is
Correct.
a guy that going into the Copa America had a chance to assert himself as the best midfielder in South America.
I said he was the best midfielder, and then he said, "All right, cool. I'm gonna take my foot off the gas." He's been mid, man. He's been so mid. And
No, he's been
Bielsa,
bad. He's been bad.
he's been bad. He's been bad. Uruguay hasn't won in 5 games now. They've created 0 big chances in the last 3 qualifiers. 0 big chances. I mean, I don't care if you're starting Luis Suarez. You're playing Paraguay at home. You can't create one big chance. Venezuela away, you can't create one big chance. Argentina created 4 big chances, and they played in a mud pit.
We
And
played in the kiddie pool at Splashtown.
yes,
We were playing up to our ankles.
yes, and Argentina's talent is not so clear of Uruguay's that Uruguay cannot be asked to create a good opportunity. I mean, I know Bielsa, he's getting a little funky now. He started Ugarte as a center back. I don't know. I mean, he's kind of this is kind of Bielsa. This is kind of the Bielsa cycle. And we were at the high. They were beating Brazil. They were tying Colombia away. They were beating Argentina away. And now we've kind of circled back, and it's like, oh wait, this is why this guy's never won anything. I'm panicking. If I'm
You know what?
Uruguayan, I'm
Yeah.
panicking.
You know what I think it was? I think that they were riding a high and they escaped. They escaped. Let's be completely transparent. They escaped the Copa America in a very lucky manner. I mean, it was like Indiana Jones roll underneath the closing door and then quickly grab the hat. Quickly grab that bronze medal, right? Before it crushes
Correct.
your hand. They make it
Correct.
out of there by the skin of their teeth, and then CONMEBOL brings down the ban hammer on the boys, and I think they start pointing fingers. I think the federation points fingers at somebody. Somebody points fingers at the players. The players point fingers at Bielsa, and everybody says, "Well, this has been your fault this whole time," and just a whole bunch of BS gets aired, and now there's no cohesion. I think
That's what it
that's what
looks
it
like.
is. That's what it looks like. They look disorganized out there, and there's only a certain amount of things that you can attribute that to. It's either that or they're unprofessional and they showed up and they were like, Peru, we're going to dog walk them. Somebody has been doing their research. I don't know. It was rough.
I
For
think the
Peru,
word you
though,
said is perfect. They're casual. They look
they're casual.
casual. And if it was not for their hot start to World Cup qualifying, where they're basically beating everybody, dude, they'd be in some serious trouble. Let's get to Peru in a second, but I'm going to make the argument they are actually in danger of slipping to a non-automatic qualifying spot. Like Uruguay's World Cup is no longer guaranteed. The field, meaning the rest of CONMEBOL, it's too strong. If Bolivia keep winning at home, Venezuela keep winning at home, Paraguay keep winning at home, and Uruguay get 0-0 draws and 1-0 losses for fun, they're gonna slip, dude. Right now, what are they? 5 points clear of eighth? That's one window. They're a double L window away from slipping to eighth place and not qualifying for the 2026 World Cup. Now, I still think they will, but the fact this is even a possibility when they looked like they were the hottest team in qualifying, that they were going to push Argentina and maybe even finish first, to now now it's back to Ojo con Paraguay for eighth. Can I read you their next five? Ecuador home, Colombia home, Brazil away, Argentina home, Bolivia away.
How many points do they take from that?
They got to take 7, is what I wrote down. 2 wins and a draw and 2 losses to be safe.
I don't think they will.
You got to beat Ecuador at home on Tuesday. Have to beat
I
Ecuador.
think you have to take Ecuador at home. That's a non-negotiable. If they don't come out with a win there, they're in serious trouble.
Outside of that, it might be shocking to say, but I actually think Argentina at home might be their second best opportunity, just because Uruguay seemed to always get up for that game.
Yeah, and they could. I mean, it's CONMEBOL, but we're like consummate procrastinators. That's just the attitude. You don't turn it on until you get there. It's like Argentina. Honestly, this feels like I'm watching Argentina. It feels like I'm watching Argentina qualifying for any given World Cup outside of the one that we just won, right? It's just a narrow thing. It's just a narrow thing always. You don't play to the standard of your opponent. You think you can just walk in on pedigree and leave, but you can't. Nobody's
No.
that good. Look at them right now. Uruguay should have won that, but you see the talent gap between this lessened Uruguay, this Uruguay that's not at its strongest, missing some of their key players, but with Darwin back, the divide between them and a Peru that feels like playing that day, not that great. It is not
Yeah.
that great. Frankly, Peru eclipsed you. Because in addition to Uruguay playing badly, Peru got up.
Yeah.
My one note for Peru, no Advíncula, no problem. When I heard he was out, I was devastated. I was like, this man, I mean, he can't catch a break. He's not winning jack with Boca. He did like Peru's going to be in the mud now. My man is sitting there massaging his Achilles tendon with the little massage gun, laughing his way straight to the bank.
Yeah. I agree. It was a strong, very typical Fossati performance from Peru. I think both of us assessed this game pretty well in our predictions video, and that it was going to be a tough slog. You might have even had a draw. I think I had Uruguay 1-0. I can't remember if you had a draw or
Let me
not,
see.
but
I did go back and I did the math. I'm shooting 20%, which is double the average penalty conversion rate. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. It is below the NBA league average 3-point percentage, Not
It
great
is.
about that, but hey, 20%, nothing bad to write home about.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I did not do very well in this one. I think I got 3 out of 5.
Peru, Uruguay,
Not
I had a 1-1.
You had a 1-1? Okay, I mean, so we were both thinking it was a close game, but the fact Peru got the win here is just yeah, Uruguay are diabolical right now, but shout out to Peru for getting y'all's first win. Let's move it on to Argentina 1, Venezuela 1 in Maturin. So Venezuela still undefeated after 5 home games in qualifying. Do you think this result was more Venezuela, Argentina, or the pitch?
It's the pitch. I've got it written down that it's just a fluke. Like there's no way. You want to know what I didn't like? I didn't like that Scaloni and Messi both came out and they were like, "This is unacceptable. Like we can't be playing on a pitch in these conditions. Like this is so ridiculous. It's an embarrassment." I hate to say it, we would not be speaking like that if we convert one more chance. If we
Correct.
win, they're going to go and they're going to be like, just the resilience of this team is just implacable. Like it is
Yeah.
just insane. I just love being a part of this team. No, 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 no. Quit. No whining. No whining. We're like I said, we're in clinch time now. You want to go in on top. You got to deal with what it is, right? You saw the field. Messi, you guys walked off the pitch when you were having an issue with the fans. You could have done it for this too, right? If it was really that bad, okay. I thought a rain delay would bring more goals. And we're good at scoring goals. I thought we would have fun here. You always see those like Instagram reels where it's like, the boys playing out in the rain, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought you'd be able to have more fun with it, but no, you weren't able to use your midfield to dominate. That's what you said. You said we rely entirely too much on our midfield, right? And it's true. It's true. We are used to the Python constricting style of gameplay where we retain possession a massive amount and just constrict off any sort of opportunities for the other team while converting once or twice for ourselves. We can't
Yeah.
do that without our midfield. We can't do that without our midfield. So it turned into a style of game that Venezuela's pretty comfortable with. Just like, just like Ecuador, Paraguay. You take the ball and you hoof it over and just hope the forwards get to it. And they did. There were good long balls, but the forwards can't dribble. There were pockets of water on the corners of each of the boxes. No winger's going to dribble through that. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
And I thought Venezuela did well to score that goal.
They did very well. I mean, they outshot Argentina 16-8 in this game. If not for Rulli, Venezuela could have won for
16,
sure.
16-8.
16-8.
At the end of the first half, it was all square. It was 6-6 shot attempts and 3 on target
Yeah,
for each.
I thought y'all collapsed in the second half a little bit. Venezuela really turned it on. The only really
Yeah.
good Argentine chance I remember in the second half, which this is Messi, who was not good, was that Paul put him through 1-on-1 with Romo, and he just shot it
Yeah.
straight at him. I mean, again, yeah, to your point, Messi scores that. Everybody's talking about how tough, this team is and all that stuff. It's funny. I always like listening to the chatter here in Buenos Aires the day after. And yeah, people were like, yeah, Messi. I mean, I was in the panaderia and this guy was like, Messi last night. I mean, another strong game from him. And I was like, are you having a laugh, mate? Another strong game from him? Are you kidding? He was
I don't
borderline
think it was bad.
fantasma.
No, no,
Dude, he
no.
did nothing. He did nothing because, I mean,
What,
his
what do you want? What
game,
do you
what
want him to
he's good
do
at it.
there?
Well, I don't want him to do anything, but don't lie. Let's not act like this
What?
was a
No. What?
classic vintage Messi performance.
No,
Can't you just
no. But
say,
his
yeah, the
first
pitch was
game, his
sucked
first game back from injuries, the first time he's even seen the pitch in 80 plus days with Argentina,
That's
right?
fine.
Coming up on 90. He's a
That's fine.
dribble heavy, ball dominant player. Nobody was doing that.
Pass heavy
All
player on a pitch that you cannot pass or dribble on. So therefore he wasn't good. Yeah. I'm not insulting Messi. I'm saying given the
no, but
circumstances, he was not
the
effective.
dialogue that cannot be put out there that Messi had a bad game. He was a borderline phantom. Just there's context here that we've got to take into account.
Okay.
Yes, my man
I
can't say
mean,
that you
compared
come in
to
and had a
Rondon,
strong
I
game.
mean, it's a little bit of a phantasma. That's all I'm saying. little bit of a fantasma. That's all right, dude. You're allowed to ghost one game every once in a while. You're the greatest player of all time. It's fine. His legacy's not ruined. I'm just saying, in this game, wasn't very good. And I
You
found it
are a
funny that
rational human being from time to time. Our viewers are not. I can't let you get away with that. I can't let you get away with that.
yeah,
Now,
I'll change.
you know what the headline, the first comment, top comment, upvoted, probably what, 15 to 60 times is going to be Rondon clear of Messi.
Yeah, probably. He has been a menace in this cycle so far for Venezuela. Like the dude he's inevitable. He's like Thanos. It's crazy. Fun fact to change the topic here. Otamendi is now Argentina's top goal scorer of this cycle with 3 goals. I should say
Yeah,
joint.
what
I
he's
think
got,
Messi also has 3.
he's got Brazil and Venezuela, and what was the other one?
Paraguay.
Paraguay. I don't think I got to watch that one.
We did a live stream for it. It's all
I
right. The
don't
game
remember
sucked
that
ass.
at all.
Yeah, well, it was not memorable, but anyways, yeah, I think the pitch, like you said, it was the great equalizer. It kind of highlighted one of the few weaknesses with Argentina, which is that you guys aren't particularly the youngest or most athletic team. And when this became just a long ball shootout, it's going to benefit Venezuela, especially at home. So I think it's a
Yeah.
massive point for them. But for people saying like, is this game the reason that Argentina are finished? I mean, absolutely not. Like you cannot draw any big conclusions from this match. Now, maybe you can draw some big conclusions from the next match. Bolivia 1, Colombia 0. Bolivia's first win over Colombia since 2003, winning despite a red card in the 20th minute. You said that the entire cycle would be put on notice if Bolivia won. Well, how you feel now?
You know what? I think we can jump into this before Brazil. I sent you an article, or not really an article, but a post that really just brought our attention back to the uh the table. So let's take a look at the table really quickly. So Bolivia, after this result, is sitting at sixth. 1 point again, 1 point above Venezuela, who Venezuela is in the play-in with 11 points. So 11, Bolivia 12, Ecuador 12, Brazil 13. And frankly, it's not a very large hill looking up to Uruguay with 15.
Yes.
So just take into account, if Bolivia can do that against Colombia, I mean, pray for anybody that flies out to Bolivia because they're looking real. They're looking real. That is some of the best Bolivian interplay that I have ever seen. They had a midfield. I've never seen them do that. There
Yeah.
was a back heel. I don't think I've ever seen a Bolivian back heel in my entire life.
Yeah. They're good now, dude. They're good. It's actually incredible to see. It's like their manager. I mean, they're playing a lot of young players. I mean, Miguel
Mhm.
Terceros, who had a borderline Puskas goal, completely dropped John Lucumi and then juked whoever else tried
And
to play
Castaño.
defense.
Castaño?
Castano,
Castano.
yeah, maybe it was Kevin
Castaño? Okay.
Castano, and then just puts a
It
rifle
was.
shot top bins. Like he's 20 years old. He's 20 years old. He's got 3 goals in the last 3 games for Bolivia. Like he's one of the reasons Bolivia have won 3 games in a row, which is insane. When was the last time that happened? 50 years ago? I don't know. It's crazy, and they've had these little like glimpses. I keep saying this, like Bolivia has like glimpses of greatness, and then they just eventually fall off. But maybe they're not falling off anymore. I will say, Vizcarra made 9 saves in this game, which I'm
I
pretty sure is
haven't.
a record for saves in a game. So I think Bolivia was it somewhat of a lucky result, maybe a little bit. But I think more when it comes to Colombia. Like, am I worried that Colombia lost away to Bolivia? Not really. I mean,
No,
John Cordoba
no,
should have had a brace in this game. Like,
yeah.
they had plenty of chances. I thought it was very obvious that Lorenzo came out with this match and was like, we're going to play defensive. So, like, a lot more to what you were predicting. I mean, he started Matias Uribe and Kevin Castaño in the midfield. I mean, come on, bro. Colombians still don't know how Uribe is even in the goddamn pool. And he started. No Daniel Munoz. No Johan Mojica. John Cordoba didn't start, which was a little funky. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'm just saying that's why I'm not like, oh, Colombia are frauds, which some
Yeah.
people did. Some people literally were like, oh my God, Colombia.
No, you can't jump to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Colombia's legacy is not tarnished based off of this right here.
No, it's not.
Just before we move past Vizcarra really quick, 9 saves, clear man of the match, right? I loved it. My favorite save that he had was the one against Luis Diaz, where he just drops to his knees and he just like, ah.
Slapped it. Yeah.
I mean, he had some phenomenal saves in there. This was objectively one of the worst. I could not stop
Yeah.
rewatching it. He like does the splits and then he's like, he just reaches a hand up. He's like, get that out of here.
Vizcarra's pretty good. Like, he's a pretty good goalkeeper.
I love that. I had fun.
It was
Do you think
was
this was a boring
entertaining.
game? Okay,
No.
yeah. I was going to say I was
No,
entertained.
no, no.
I had fun there.
No. Yeah, I would say that Venezuela Argentina was probably the best game. That was just so back and forth. This is probably the second best game. It was very good.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the goals that I thought it was going to have, but in terms of like I mean, the boys were just running on both teams.
The boys were running.
It's crazy.
The boys were running. Yeah. The
They were
Colombians
running.
woke up the next day. They had a massive headache. Altitude sickness out the ass.
For sure. And I think we have to say finally before we move on to our last game that Bolivia, them waking up is the biggest disaster scenario for Venezuela, Ecuador, and Paraguay because, as I mentioned earlier, you need wins. In Bolivia, they're going to lose games away. Like, they're probably going to lose at the Monumental. 2-0, probably a sound defeat. It doesn't matter. If they win at home, they're going to qualify. They can lose every single away game left. But if they win, 4 of the remaining 5 home games or 3 of the remaining 4 home games, that's 9 points. They're going to qualify. They're going to qualify because teams like Venezuela and Paraguay and Ecuador, they're drawing too many games. 3 draws is 1 win. We only got 8 games left? 10 games left? You got to start winning. So that's why I think Bolivia, man, are they going to the World Cup? Early signs indicate yes.
Ecuador, you are too little too late. Paraguay,
big trouble.
you are too little too late. Hear me out. I haven't felt this excited about a team since Ecuador was getting good 2 years ago. Nothing's changed since then. Now I have a new toy to play with. The new kids on the block are here. Paraguay, you better start scoring some goals. Ecuador, you better start scoring some goals. Otherwise, you are selling. Bolivia is late to the party, and you're letting them dominate.
Mm-hmm.
They
They
are the
showed
new
up
kid on the
sober,
block.
took 4 shots, and now they're more drunk than you are.
Yep. And they're the vibe. They brought the aux cord. Everybody wants to know about their home field advantage. Everybody likes it. It's a little intimidating.
Yeah.
But the
It
girls love that. It's me. I'm the girls. I'm over here. I'm fangirling. It's happening. I'm like, tell me more. Who is Terceros? What's going on? Vizcarra, where do you play? What transfer interest do you have? I'm like Piero Incapu.
In Capu?
Inquien. How about that? Piero Inquien.
Yeah.
God, that was a stretch. That was brutal. Cut that out. Jack, cut that in post.
I don't cut anything in post.
Leaving it in.
Leaving it in for sure. Yeah, no, they Woo. I'm just saying, it's a disaster for the rest of the teams. Bolivia being back is a disaster for the rest of the teams involved, including Chile, who lost 2-1 in Santiago against Brazil, despite having the literal dream scenario of scoring somewhat of a fluke header through Eduardo Vargas. It was kind of weird. I'm not really sure how it wasn't saved, but whatever. Chile scored. They go up in the second minute, and it's looking like, holy shit, Gareca masterclass. And then they proceeded to not be awful, but Brazil were definitely the better side the entire rest of the game. And I think most notably, two of the local boys, Igor Jesus and Luis Enrique, are the ones that get Brazil the dub, with an assist coming from Savinho, and I don't remember who got the other assist for Brazil, but it was the local guys, the Brasileiro guys, stepping up, getting the win away in Santiago. Brazil's now won 4 straight games over Chile, and I think it's a big, big win for Brazil. I really do, because if they dropped points here, dude, I mean, you read out the table, would Bolivia be ahead? Bolivia would be ahead if this was a draw of Brazil. And Brazil would be in 7th place.
I mean, Bolivia was briefly ahead. Brazil
Yeah,
just
they were.
happened to have a game in hand. If Bolivia's jumping you in the table, I want to know. That's interesting. After 3 games played, when was the last time that Bolivia was above Brazil in the table?
Probably
Not in
2002.
my memory.
Brazil were kind of a
Maybe.
bad side. I mean, they weren't bad. They were bad for their standards, but
Yeah.
no,
I don't know.
no like context or research. I would assume there was probably a match week in there where Brazil was below, at least for a week or something.
That's just crazy to me. That is just insane to me. Got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. The thing about Brazil is that I feel like you are used to having a Brazil with a talisman. They're comfortable with that. That's what they're used to. They like that. I don't know, with a country that is so used to having such technically and fundamentally sound players. Like, they probably produce just the most out and out sound footballing athletes in the world. You have trouble with systemic play? It's just strange. It's just strange, right? I don't know. I think all of the big
Yeah.
teams came in, and I'm not saying that's happening in this game in particular, so I'm getting a bit off topic, but I think the big teams kind of walked in and they just let things happen this time. They came in, they thought they were in the driver's seat, and I think that South American ego got ahead of them, and it's letting the little guys kind of choke up on the gas here and then explode. Like, I don't know. Like, Chile should not have gone up. Like you said, Chile should not have gone
No.
up. That was frankly very upsetting for me in regards to the Brazilian performance. They didn't think it was going in. The Chileans didn't think it was going in. It shouldn't have happened. Good for Chile. And
Yeah.
Brazil did well to come back from that. But kind of nerve-wracking on the front end.
Yeah, coming back away in Santiago is impressive, especially when you look at some of the players that Brazil started in this match. Kind of my biggest takeaway was that this is further proof that where you play club football doesn't automatically make you better. Like, I
Yep.
think we get in this argument sometimes as fans. Like, let's not act like the Brazil league sucks. It's a very good league. And so
It's
these
better than the
guys,
Argentine league.
it's way better than the Argentine league. And so these
It
guys down
wasn't
there,
it wasn't always like that. But
yeah, well,
yes, lately,
yeah,
yes.
when your father was a kid, then maybe the Argentine league was superior. But
No, try early
the
2000s. I would say the last 6 to 7 years there's been a decline.
we were still crawling the last time that the Argentine league was ahead of the Brazilian league. We
I
had
was
not learned
walking.
to speak.
You might have been crawling.
You had not learned to speak. You can barely speak now.
I are you, I could say Riquelme in a perfect in a perfect porteño accent. I had a choripan in one hand, a quilmes in the other, and the chupete in my mouth. And I was smoking on that River pack, is what I was doing.
I don't remember how strong they were back in the day compared to Boca, but both of them are trash right now, so it doesn't even matter. Speaking of Boca, um, Gareca started to go with this one guy, Felipe Loyola, who plays for Independiente in Argentina, which I thought was interesting, and he got the assist to Vargas. And he's only got like 5 caps for the national team. So Gareca, I think I looked at this game. Chile rotated a lot. He's trying, but goddamn, these players are bad. And I mean, if Vargas is still scoring the goals for you in your Chile, it's just why they're done. Like, I have is it officially over for Chile? But the answer is yes. Like, they're just this had to be a win, and it wasn't. And now they have what? Colombia away. Godspeed. I mean,
Yeah. No, it's not happening.
Colombia away coming off a loss. Yeah. Godspeed. Godspeed to Chile.
They can't score any goals that aren't fluke goals. It's so
Yes.
weird having a strong South American defensive presence when I feel like we're usually known for hat tricks. It's just kind of weird. It feels like out of character, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Chile squad. It's just time to do what Bolivia did and what Ecuador did last cycle, and just if you are over the age of 24, you're just not playing.
Yep.
You're banned from the team. Sorry. Maybe for the goalkeeper, you can be 27, but everybody else, you got to get out. We got to get somebody else in here because it's over. You have 6 points. You're dead last. 14 goals conceded, and it ain't good. So just blow it up and start over. And you know what? Maybe Gareca can be the guy to stick around and lead the new gen in. But this current crop, it ain't working. I think Loyola, I
Ain't it?
think he's like 20, 23, 24. So exactly.
Okay.
Maybe Gareca's already trying to do that. It's just, we got to just accept the fact it ain't happening this cycle. And it ain't happening with this generation. But you got any last words before we end it here?
No.
I feel like we
I've
always
said
talk
my
about Chile
piece.
last. It's kind of funny how that always happens. I don't mean to script it like that, but they always end up being the last team that we
Oh,
talk about.
Chile and
And
Brazil got 30 seconds at the very end. Oops. My
you are
bad.
a hater. You are a hater just like everybody watching right now. And we hope that you guys enjoyed this matchday recap of CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers. If you did, smash the like button. Let us know your biggest takeaway from week 9 down below in the comments. Hit subscribes because we will be back here for week 10 on Wednesday or Thursday of next week. We appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see y'all in the next one.